Oi, what's up? It's Demented, and I wanted to do another Liquipedia dump because there's kind of been a lot that's been going on in the scene, not necessarily in terms of really big moves that are being made by teams, but more in terms of retirement. There's a huge list of people that have been retiring recently, and I thought it was worth addressing, and kind of where that leaves the pools of some teams in the future, and I guess, not exactly excited to bring this because I'm very, I'm very not a big, I guess, advocate of people retiring, especially when it feels like it was done way too soon, or that they didn't get their fair shot in Overwatch League or whatever. So I guess that's where I'm left with right now. But I don't want to be on my sad shit for too long, so immediately I'm kind of just gonna skip over some of the people that I don't know / don't think are very big moves, or stuff that I can come back to collectively later. And I think if I'm going off where I left off last time, I believe we stopped at the Odyssey roster on top of the new T1 roster, which I was a fan of. And getting into these coaches, again, I've said this time and time again, I'm not huge on coaches. I don't know too much. But I think it's very interesting that mikeyy has gone into collegiate. And I don't know if that means mikeyy is more interested in furthering his education or whatever, but regardless, I'm really happy for him. I want to keep that very brief. I honestly didn't even know that that was a move that got made until until I pulled this page up. So that's news to me, but I mean, wish him the best. And next, I think a very interesting thing is Swoon getting picked up to the Uprising Academy. I think that's a super interesting pick. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. And I mean, on top of that, Talon's been making a lot of drops recently, or people have been moving away from Talon, and I want to get back into that later. But for right now, I think this is a really good pickup, and I would honestly be interested in seeing Swoon in the future. So next in my little list of things that I think aren't anything like too crazy that I really have an opinion on, but something that I think is very interesting is this coach pickup, and I mean, I guess translator pickup from Dark Mode to Paris Eternal. Dark Mode isn't a team that's really made a huge name for themselves, in my opinion. The majority of people that I talk to don't really like them for the most part, so that, I guess, is a interesting step for them. And I mean, I've heard stuff about the jmac getting picked up, so I'm, I guess, wishing the best for them. I think this could be huge for them. And moving on, there's a lot of these just kind of stray drops that I don't personally really care about. The coach from Defiant is definitely an interesting one, because I have a friend that is a fan of the Toronto Defiant who didn't even know who this guy was, which is very interesting, and a very interesting thing in how impactful they were. So I guess take that as you will. I don't think much of it whatsoever. So the next very interesting pickup that I wanted to get into was actually this coaching pickup, and for the 15,000th time, I'll say I don't know that much about coaches, but the more interesting thing is actually the region, because for a while, I'm pretty sure Australia's kind of been the laughing stock of the Contenders scene in general. There's never really been a whole lot of competition in there, and the main team that's always kind of been, I guess, dominant has always been Ground Zero Gaming, who hasn't really been put to the test very much. But with that, I think people looking to pick up people from Ground Zero is a pretty interesting thing, and I think that's really big for the region overall. and I'm interested to see if there's any more moves that are made out of the Australian region, but I guess props. Now, a couple really brief drops that I want to mention are Zholik and Aspen. As I've been very vocal about, not a fan of Aspen as a player, you know, as a personality and as a streamer, sure, whatever. But I'm more interested in the Zholik drop, because Zholik is someone who I've watched not exactly closely for a while, but someone who I've seen and maybe not held to a very high regard, but someone who is what I would say is above average, and someone who I think has the potential, if the right resources are, I guess, kind of stowed upon them in forms of coaching, in forms of just overall getting more experience. I think Zholik has a lot of potential and is very talented. Now, moving forward, I've been kind of interested in this pickup in terms of it being, although in Sanguinar, from past London Spitfire and now onto O2 Blast. And what I'm more interested in is with some people that are being added to Korean rosters and stuff like that. I'm wondering how different each scene is going to be, and just how much higher the Overwatch League level is going to be, and how much the bar is raised in terms of the scene in Contenders and the overall, I guess, competitive nature of that compared to Overwatch League, and how that's going to affect gameplay as a whole in Overwatch being raised and expectations being raised. So for the next couple of things to kind of bring up, the decod, zholik, and zenith retirement. These are three players that I definitely did not think were going to be in Contenders for as long as they were. I don't know if it was just poor performance in trials, or maybe just a lack of synergy in being on a mixed roster, or something of that nature that might have held them a step back from going the extra mile or getting that last little bit of distance that they needed to get to Overwatch League. But regardless, I'm sure that they have, with their fair share of staying in Contenders, made a okay amount of money on the side at least, and I can't be anything but happy for them. In their retirement, they were all very, very, very like loving to each other and the family that they had at Drifters. In terms of what this means for Drifters, I am very concerned for them going forward, because losing one player that's in a comm role, being a main tank or a main support, as well as someone on your coaching staff, individually can be huge fucking blows, let alone losing all three of them on the same day. And in this quick of succession, I mean, although it is the off season, I think it's going to be really rough for Drifters to bounce back from this. I could be entirely wrong, and they could pick up some really good talent that is just kind of flying under the radar right now, but I'm interested to see what the future holds for them. So now, getting over all of the Stappy retirement shit, I want to maybe revisit that and just talk about all the people that are retiring in general, because you do have people from the likes of Who Are You, Bedosin, all just retiring, and it has been a really rough off season for people. And I mean, while I'm making this video, a couple new pickups just got made, kind of hype. But even with the new pickups coming through, I want to mostly stick to my I guess loose script or outline of what I had planned for this, in that I think right now is kind of it's marking more of the end of the Overwatch League pickups, at least for the most part. And it's like, although that's over and that's very sad, this opens up a new chapter of who's getting picked up to go to specific Contenders teams, which I think is going to be a fucking joy to look out for. I really want to see some new talent, fresh faces, and more stuff to review overall. So, seeing Babel before. I have definitely seen Babel through the London Spitfire. This is what I'm talking about, where you're gonna get people like the old London Spitfire roster who still want to compete and are still just as hungry as they were, and they're gonna go back down to Contenders. They're gonna automatically raise the level of the, like, where the bar is at for Contenders, and it's only going to go up from there. And I'm really excited to say that going into next season. In terms of this coaching pickup, I think this is really big for Talon. If you haven't been keeping up with the Talon roster, Talon has, for the most part, kind of exploded. It's been pretty dead in terms of the people that have been getting dropped. I mean, you saw Stellar and Arrow were both dropped earlier, and the only person left was someone that I was even thinking of VOD reviewing over Zholik a couple days ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. But getting back on topic, I think this is going to be a huge pickup for Talon, solely because this guy, although it was a very brief time, it looks like, at least, that this coach that they picked up was on the London Spitfire, and with that coach hopefully having more I guess kind of jurisdiction over who's getting picked up and more roster control. Also coming in from Element Mystic, this is someone that's going to kind of know the scene and already have felt out just overall what the skill level is at for Korean Contenders, and I think it's going to hopefully be to Talon's benefit in the future. So that is what I'm really excited for more than anything. So my last thing that I want to get into, which is more of a kind of discussion thing, and if you are here just to, I guess, kind of get caught up on what moves have been made and my thoughts about specific moves, that's pretty much the end of the video. This next part, I want to get into a mini discussion about retirement, because a lot of the people that you see retiring here were, again, as I hit with talking about drifters, it was a very early time for a lot of these people in their career. And I think going forward, that now this is going to either create a divide or kind of call Blizzard to action, because if people see a whole bunch of Contenders players, a whole bunch of Overwatch League players retiring, saying that they are retiring because they aren't interested in the game, but you hear in all of these twitlongers about their retirements. Just before I get back to that, we've had 14 people retire just in the month of January, not even throughout the entire offseason. But with that information, and like we're only on the 19th, that's almost one person retiring every day, which is insane to think about. And it's even more insane that we're definitely not done, in my opinion. And I think going back to what I was saying, that if like the common denominator in all of these retirement posts, all of these twitlongers, is that, like, my love for the game has fallen out, but I'm really hopeful for Overwatch 2, or I might come back for Overwatch 2, or I might try Overwatch 2. But a lot of people, because they don't have any information about Overwatch 2, are just kind of giving up. and I can't necessarily blame them, but I'm not exactly endorsing this by any means, because I really, like, I've had my fair share of wanting to retire and not wanting to, I guess, play anymore or compete or do whatever, or just leave the game in general, but there's so much more to be figured out about this game, and that's, I guess, kind of the whole reason that I'm doing YouTube videos now, is even though my impact as a player hasn't been that significant, at least not yet, I want to at least use the knowledge that I've already gained up to this point to further push my my role forward, being main support, or just the support category in general, as a very underdeveloped role in my opinion. I want it to be pushed more to the limit and really shown what a true main support can do, and what a good main support definitely can do in terms of team play and just in general. And I think I'll eventually do that. So with that all being said, I want to thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you all so fucking much. There's been a fair amount of support on the channel recently. Even if it's not that much to you guys, it means the world to me. Regardless, I'm gonna keep trying to make as much content as possible. I've been recording like non-fucking stop every night, so regardless, I'm gonna keep trying to make content as long as I can, as long as it's hopefully being impactful. I love all you guys. I will see you when I see you later.